Hi, this is Madhu Daithota for Bangalore Times, and in conversation with me is Malvika Avinash. She needs no introduction, somebody who chooses her roles with a lot of care. So, moving on to Malvika. Happy Women's Day,
Happy Women's
first
Day
of
to
all.
you.
So, Malvika, when it comes to Just Married, what was it that, when Bobby spoke to you about the role, what was it that connected you with it?
I think Bobby is the reason. Not many times do you receive a call from a woman director. There are a lot of women working in the film industry now than there were a few years ago when we started. They used to be only on the fringe. They used to do, some used to do hair and that's about it.
Right.
Even the costume department used to be a male dominated one. So over the years, in the last 10 or so years, I think that whole atmosphere has changed. Women have sort of entered every possible department of cinema. There have been women directors in the past, and in fact, many years ago, as a child, I worked with a woman director called Prema Karthikeyan. There is a sense of comfort that you feel with a woman directing you, or with a woman looking at you through her lens.
Right.
Okay, so the first draw always for Just Married, if you ask a woman, would be the woman director.
Right. So when it comes to your character, obviously you don't always choose everything that comes your way. So what was it about this? Because from what I hear from Bobby, it's one of those intense and somebody who is very strong. What was it that resonated with you about this role?
I think Bobby herself is a very strong person, which is why she's able to create so many women who are strong in her film. I haven't watched the film. I'm sure her heroine also must be as strong as she is, or some element of it comes out in the way you perceive a scene. So to me, like I said, I just believed her and went with it. There was a bit of a hesitation because I was playing something from the past. Whether it would be received that way, I can't divulge too much.
Right.
So I'll be divulging my character, so I can't. However, there was a bit of a hesitation that am I going to be declared as 400 years or 500 years old if I do this? Because it comes from the past.
Right.
It's a flashback. So that was there, that concern was there. But once you go on the sets and start working with her, then you're convinced with what you're doing.
Right.
There is also a bit of hesitation because not many women can, a lot of times what I have seen with women directors is they sort of are bogged down by the atmosphere and the men around them sort of, take them into control. And they don't stay in charge many times. But with Bobby, she knew exactly what she wanted in every character.
Right.
And therefore, you just go with her. You trust her and her confidence in her writing.
So, like you mentioned, this is a character that comes from the past. So, when you go and enact something like this, do you prep for a role or do you say, let me go on set and see what comes to me?
No. I don't know. I come from the old school. I don't know how it works now. The moment you know you're going to do something, the preparation starts right from the moment go. Right from the moment somebody calls you or comes home and narrates it to you. I think the preparation starts and you start looking out for people who you can observe and recreate, or people you've known. You try and recollect somebody that you know who may resemble the person that you're playing, because being an actor is what? Dropping yourself, right? Your ego, yourself, your self-image, your identity, everything is gone. You just disappear. Malvika disappears and the character comes.
Right.
So what mostly I do at least is it constantly, it's there at the back of your mind, and when you see somebody or watch something, or it could be even a film that you watch, right? May not have a character like this at all, but there's something that you draw from it. So preparation starts right in the beginning. What I liked about Bobby especially is the fact that she works on details. You see, they say that the woman's right and left brain both work. Since it's Women's Day, I think it's a day to celebrate women. The men miss a lot of details that the women can see. Like I can tell you the exact color of your sari, what shade it is. I know it's blue, but it's not just blue.
Right.
For a man, that blue and this blue won't be very different. But for a woman, she can see the difference.
Right.
Right. So these details that she worked on in every frame, and also the aesthetic nature of what came through in the frame. A lot of times men miss that.
Right.
You know, when you go back and watch what you did, you're wondering, could this guy have not told me to keep my sari like this, or that my arm is looking too big, or that my nose is looking. A lot of times the men
miss that.
Yeah, they do. But Bobby would look into the camera like that, and she'd say, "Can you turn so much? So only so much of this earring is the, you know." These kind of aesthetic details, no. Eventually, when you consume it as a viewer, they make you feel good. What do you watch a movie for? It's all suspension of disbelief.
Right.
So you go there to feel good, to feel nice, to watch something that you're not. So all of this, I think, will come as a package in Just Married, because it's a woman.
Right. So you mentioned something interesting, that when you played this role, somebody from the past, there have been references probably of people or movies, or, you know, could you mention some of these people who probably passed your mind when you...
No, she gave me some references which I possibly can't divulge. But for myself, yes, because see, I am an urban bred person. I've lived in Bangalore all my life. I've never gone to a village and led the life of a woman in a village. So for me, the first thing is to drop that urban image of myself, no? And then to look at a woman who is very strong, who's in the village, who's wealthy, and you know, is very likes to look nice. So all of these references come from various people, and there's nobody in particular that I can talk of. The reference she gave me, of course, I can't divulge.
Right. So when it comes to you know, your role, I noticed that so because she comes from a rural background, and you said you are an urban bred person, right?
Yes.
Were there any issues, Malvika, that you noticed from then to now, that these issues pretty much haven't changed for women, real life struggles that you can put forward?
I think being a woman itself is a struggle, and it's universal. So it is not restricted to any place or to any time.
Right.
Being a woman, because a lot is expected of a woman, right, through the day. And why don't, okay, now if I were to go back and talk about what I said about women not being seen in too many numbers in the film industry, because it consumes 24/7, right, all your time. You cannot go home many times, you know. So, but a woman is expected to take care of the house, whatever be her age, and, you know, perform as a professional. So this is true of women across the world, in all regions, in all strata of society.
Right.
That doesn't change, no?
Right.
You are a village woman. What does a woman in a village do traditionally? She will perform all her duties in the house, and then she sets out to either get firewood or to do some work. I don't know, if she's working, then she goes to work somewhere. She gets home, and then she has to, you know, do everything at home.
Right.
Too. That's true of you and me and all of us.
Correct.
Who run homes.
Right.
Right. I have to make sure there's food on the table at the house before I come here and sit with you and chat.
Right. So run a home and plus show up at work is something that women across.
Yes, and that itself is a struggle, isn't it? Very demanding.
Right.
That one day you're not at home, you get a million calls, right? Where is this? Where is that? Where's my shoe?
That doesn't change.
That doesn't change. No?
Yeah.
For a rural woman also, where has it changed? It's not going to change. Now she also carries a mobile phone, so probably she also gets those calls.
Those calls, yeah.
Like we do, no? At work.
Yeah. So through this character, what do you think you would like to tell women? Whatever, if she's done something, then you would like to say, yeah, do this. If she's not done something, then probably tell the audience that, you know, this is how you probably should look at it.
Like I said, it's so tricky to talk about a character and not divulge any details. But this character is is like every woman that you see. As strong as she may be, she's extremely emotional too, and she's driven by that emotion.
Right.
So it's both, and I think constantly we are doing that balancing, no?
Yeah.
Of mind and heart.
Right. Right.
A man just thinks from his mind and just moves ahead. The woman is also thinking from her heart. When I do this, what happens to my family? What will happen to my children? What will happen to my husband? But a man is not thinking like that. No, he's thinking, all right, if I do this, I will get so much, or to some place that I need to. So I think that balance of one being driven by one's own confidence and one being pulled down by one's own emotion.
Right.
That is what this character represents. Both.
Right.
Extremes in both. One is the extreme confidence, the other is the extreme emotion that takes over.
Yeah. Coming to another topic that which I think you've also debated on social media, is that you spoke about how you see a lot of women coming into the force now in terms of even the technical side.
That's true.
Are you happy with the progress that we have made? Do you think that we are on the right path in terms of more women representation on the set?
There should be a lot more. Then there will be a lot more stories of women. And a lot many stories of how a woman looks at the world. No? We are so used to seeing everything through the male camera.
Yes.
The male lens. Right? And however empathetic, sympathetic, however emotional a man might be, however sensitive he might be, he is not a woman, so he can't think like one. We do see a lot of good films made by men, which are about women and their struggles. What? Nothing like what comes through the lens of a woman itself, right? So we need to increase our numbers, I think. I'm glad, and I'm glad. The other thing, let me tell you, as a professional, when you go on a set, you are expecting your director to know what they do. Right, with Bobby I didn't have that problem. She could have been man, she could have been woman. She knew what she was trying to do. A lot of times this, can sort of dissuade you. When the director doesn't know what they want, then, everything is in disarray. But here was a woman who said, no, please do only so much. If you did something that she didn't want, she'd come and tell you. She didn't really care who you were. This happens to a lot of actors like me who've been around for a long time. The director is a little hesitant to come and tell you, madam, don't do this, do something else. But she
knows her mind.
Yeah, and she wanted what she wanted. It's not like what you gave she's going to take.
Right.
So that, I think that itself is very encouraging to work with a woman.
So with such clarity on all of these things, Malvika, haven't you ever thought of taking up this microphone and saying, okay, I'm ready to direct now?
Believe me, every actor wants to direct.
Really?
Yeah. Because there are so many things that are coming to your head, no? You want to tell the director. There was a time when we would, make fools of ourselves, go and say something, and the director would say, please go do what I tell you. It's okay, you can do all that when you direct. We've heard that also from people. We are bursting with, lot of ideas and thoughts and all of that. That happens to all actors. You do want to, sort of move to the, wielding the megaphone. But
there's no idea lurking somewhere that, okay,
there will be, I guess. I don't know if I'll ever get myself to actually do it, but it's always been there. But what an actor gets, a technician may not get so much. We get to work with so many different people, no? There are some directors who tell you what to do. Some directors who just come and say, okay, you do what you want, and I'll tell you where to stop. There are some directors who will actually enact. Those were from the past, okay. Now they all are like fossils.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've learned like that. We've learned from directors who would show every single move. To today's director who, nowadays people come without even scripts, yeah.
Right.
They put two people in a situation, they say this is the situation. Now you start talking. Whatever you talk, I'm going to keep. And whatever I don't want, I'm going to remove. So there are directors like that.
Does that work for you when they do that? Coming from an old school, is that the way forward?
It actually doesn't. But I don't know. Each one has a different style. That's all I can say. Like, I don't know. Balachandar would tell you exactly what to do. He would say, just do this much. That's it. Don't look from here to there, there to here. That's about it. And then there was a Girish Kasarolli who would do everything and then would say, don't do anything I did. Do it your way.
Right.
So these are two different, very different directors, but who portrayed women in such a beautiful fashion,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I don't know. I think each one's just their own
Style is
imagination,
different, yeah.
So when you're an actor, then you sit back and you enjoy.
Enjoy that process, yeah. You're also equally vocal on social media, and coming to, we were just discussing earlier that women are the most, you know, the ones who face trolling perhaps so much on social media. How do you use your platform to probably inspire women, or what would you like to tell people who are being trolled left, right, center, especially the girls?
I don't know. I don't deliberately say or do anything. People know what their lives they are leading. What we can extend is a kind of sisterhood, you know. Hey, don't worry, I get trolled too, or people say bad things to me too, so you're not the only one. Don't feel lonely, or don't feel left out, or don't feel like you're the only one facing the flag. All of us do. It's just that perhaps we were not so accessible so many years ago.
Yeah.
Today we are.
Yeah.
One Madhu could come and talk to us.
Yeah.
Who else could talk to us? Now everyone who's on social media
can talk to
can
you.
throw something at you, not talk. I wish they spoke.
Right.
They would speak back.
Yeah.
Right? They throw things at you.
Nasty things. Yeah.
Throw things at you.
Yeah.
So sometimes you duck, sometimes you catch, sometimes you wonder what to do with it, sometimes you just throw it and ignore it. So I think it's each developing situation you deal with it. We can only extend some kind of sisterhood, like I said, a kind of support and say we are there, and you're not the only one.
Right.
All of us face this.
Right.
And it's for women. I think I don't know if I should say this, but the men feel the threat now.
Why do you think?
You see, like I said, the films were dominated by them, right? The only woman on the set would be either the heroine or her mother, the actor who's playing her mother, sister, whatever. There would be no other women. So the men, wielded a sense of power. This is our medium, and that's how it used to be. Now there are so many women, so the men are wondering, oh God, we've got to run this race better. So I think that sense of threat has come in all the professions. I mean, if I were to speak of journalism, see, Purnima used to be I think she was the first woman editor in Kannada.
Faudevani, yeah.
So when we used to have these chats many years ago, she would say, for her to break that glass ceiling of working past 6 in the evening was her biggest challenge.
Right.
Right, because at least publishing used to work like that. Now it's all different. Now everything is breaking news and everything is on WhatsApp. But publishing used to be like that. No, they had to, news would trickle in only after 2 p.m. in the afternoon. After 6 is when they would actually sit and decide what tomorrow's paper is going to be. And then till 12 or 12:30 till it went for print, you had to be there.
Right.
So now there are like women all over the place swarming from everywhere, right? So the men will feel threatened in every single profession because of the number of women that are entering everything, and there is no glass ceiling, I think, now.
That's true, which also brings me to another point of the safety on the sets, which is a much debated topic these days. What would you say that, do you feel that the men are feeling threatened here also? Is there awareness amongst women on the safety guidelines, what they can have for themselves? What would be your thoughts on this?
See, the problem with our, we call it film industry, but it doesn't bear an industry status. Strictly speaking, technically speaking, it is an unorganized place, right? There are independent directors and producers, like Ajneesh is an independent producer, right? So these are independent filmmakers. You don't have like a studio that they used to be in the past where people were employed, writers were employed, music directors were employed, everybody was employed. It's not so now. Everybody is an individual and you are picked up for a certain project. And once the project ends, that's it.
Yeah.
Bye bye. See you next time. So it's very difficult to bring order into something that is this unorganized. If it was disorganized, we would have brought order. It's unorganized. You
Right.
cannot organize it. So it's tough to set rules and say follow them. You know, because it's all like a piecemeal, right? You may not see that person again 3 months later, and hence to bring in that sense of what do you say, ethical behavior and all that is a tough call. And you know, it's they have attempted it, haven't they, with the
Right.
Hema Commission
Yeah.
in Kerala and all of that.
Right.
But what came of it? Except that there was a lot of, you know, gossip and stories.
Mudslinging,
and
yeah.
yeah, that's about it. But what came of it? Because it's so unorganized. So in future, hopefully, this will be a more organized sector. I think governments have to sit down and put their mind on it, and first declare us as an industry, as an organized group of people doing something, and from there I think these women's rights will emerge in terms of harassment at work.
Right.
It can be any kind of harassment.
Right.
I told you, odd hours. But
Yeah.
that's how this industry works.
Works, yeah.
I can't say I won't work till 2 a.m. I can't say I'll go home. That's how this place works. You can be here, nobody's forcing you to. You're coming here by choice. That's what comes, right?
Correct.
When you say something like this, something in the order of, oh, can I go home at 6? You've come here by choice.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a piecemeal thing. No, nobody's going to ask me to work till 2 a.m.
Correct.
for the rest of my life.
Right.
Then I can set rules. This is only for a few days or for
Yeah.
a few scenes.
Yeah.
There is that one scene. In fact, even with Bobby, she, much as I wanted to go home, she didn't let me go home one day. And Bobby held me back after 9, I think. Yeah. So I was like, when is this woman going to finish? I can't even say anything because it's a woman. And you know, I can't yell at her because see what happens is when you're on a set, you can't be yelling at someone because you want the others to
Yeah,
respect
yeah.
the person. With a man, maybe it comes easier. With women, no, they really have to command their respect. So if I go say something and it, you know,
Yeah.
causes a sense of inconvenience to her or discomfort to her, then others are going to think they can push her around.
Right.
So I used to just, this lady won't let me go. So what do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
You just endure it because what, as if she's going to make me sit every day like that.
Correct.
So you just endure it. It's part of the job. So it's a bit difficult to get that kind of order or sense into this business
Right.
for now. Maybe in future it will change. Much has changed since how it was. The onset of Caravan itself is like for us, like the heavens are smiling. on us.
Descended, yes.
Yeah. Because we used to hold our bladders the whole day. Yeah. You would be wearing
Right.
something you can't possibly, and you try to set out, then 5 people will come behind you, you know,
Yeah.
trying to check where you're going. How do you go? So these things we've had. I
And
think
today
there's
you
a
have
lot.
mobile phones following you everywhere.
Ah. So I mean, Caravan is the biggest boon
Boon, yes.
that women have got.
Right.
Otherwise, you can ask Shruti, you can ask anyone. We used to change. They used to hold these blankets. These costumers used to hold blankets. We used to stand inside and change. So all that doesn't exist.
Right. Right.
To that extent, we've come this far. Hopefully, we'll go further.
So, what would you have to tell as a woman to another woman this Women's Day? If there's something top of your mind that you've always wished to probably tell women.
I don't know. I think this is a more recent awakening for myself also. That we perhaps don't value what we do. We don't value ourselves enough. Right? We don't believe when we look at ourselves in the mirror, a lot of women don't even look at themselves in the mirror. No, they're doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get the
Yeah.
child to go to school, let me cook, and then let me wear a bag and go to
Yeah.
work. So, in the middle of all that, you know, you are lost. And after a while, I think once you hit 40, you realize, oh God, all my time is going for others. When am I going to sit down and think for myself or
Right.
do something for myself? And this, I think you'll have to apply it to to the beginning of everything, right? To the moment you turn 14 or 15, you realize you're a woman. I think you need to prioritize yourself, which we missed a lot of years, right? For me, it's a rude awakening that's come pretty late in life. I tell all the girls to
Value yourself.
value yourself, value what you do. You know, there's this theory of economics where people are talking of, if you were to put a price or a market value on what a woman does through the day in her house as a homemaker, then it's a lot of GDP. I've heard professors talk about this. So, and when have we ever stopped and thought about it? It's one thing for the husband to say, oh, you cooked a great meal, or oh, you're looking very nice and all that, husband or children or whatever. But it's another for you to tell yourself that, listen, what I'm doing is wonderful, which we miss doing.
Right.
Which is why there's also a lot of sense of low esteem in women because of that, because of the way we look better. And then there's the social pressure now, social media pressure of,
to look good.
To look good, to not repeat saris. I repeat. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, to not repeat your clothes, to not repeat your look, and as long as we feel good. There are some saris you really like sometimes,
Right.
You want to wear it a second time, and then somebody's saying, no, we've seen you in that. So it's like that. So I think we need to value ourselves more. That, when I say value, I'm talking of physical appearance, I'm talking of our own self, of your own self-image, all of that.
Right.
I think we are much better than what we think we are.
Correct. Right.
Women need to know that.
Yeah. Your just married experience in a line, if you were to sum up.
Okay. I think I've been in the company of a lot of women in the film. Okay. In my scenes, there were no other women other than Bobby. Okay, I was the only woman.
Right.
But in the film, there are a lot of women. I obviously don't know what they all have done, but what I do like is the fact that everyone's come together to narrate a beautiful love story. And what is life all about? About falling in love, falling out of love, thinking about your love, romanticizing your love, or living your love if you're lucky.
Right.
So I think it's a beautiful love story, and they have a wonderful producer who also is an artist himself, and therefore it will be far more aesthetically, visually, I can guarantee from Bobby's side, and I think even the audio will be wonderful.
Right.
There are many songs that are already on in the market. He's capable of giving this film that extra edge because he's an artist.
Right.
When a producer is an artist, he doesn't think, he doesn't think about spending.
Yeah.
So it will be a nice, beautiful movie experience, I think. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Wonderful. On that note, thank you so much for talking, Malvika. Lovely talking to you.